Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Creating Scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today's quick video is using Krita to do some texturing, some paints, whatever you want to call it. But I want to show you how in Krita that you can create an array. So here I have I'm making a museum piece for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the Museum of the United States Air Force. They have the VC-137, tail number 26,000. It was the Air Force One that was used by John F. Kennedy and carried his body back from Dallas in 1963. But anyway, it's on display there. And I'm working on that model. I'm actually converting a KC-135R into the VC-137. Anyway, I'm working on the paint job, the iconic paint job for the Air Force One. And we got a row of windows that we need to put in, and I just want to show you this, how simple it is in Krita, which is Krita is a kind of like a Photoshop clone, and it's open source and free. Open source doesn't necessarily mean free, but in this case it's both. But there's a link in the description to download Krita if you haven't used it. It's awesome. I love the software. It doesn't do 100% what Photoshop does, but most of us only use 10% of software anyway. So here we go. So here I have a layer in Krita called Window. Okay, Windows. And if I use my transformation tool, I can click on the window and I can move it and all types of stuff like that. Put it back, Control Z, put it back to where it belongs. All right, so here I have a window, and I've counted the aircraft, and there are 30 windows on the left side. There's multiple sets of windows, but I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Okay, so we have this window, and we need to array it so it goes in this direction. Okay, so to create an array in Krita, you're going to go to the layer that you want to create the array, and this is just a simple graphical window. It's not an actually modeled window. It's just a square shape that I beveled the corners. But if you go to layer and you go to split, you'll notice that there's clones array. Click on that and you get this workable menu here. We're gonna make a row, one row, not two rows, but one row. Okay, and we want to make the columns 1, and we're going to make the row 1. Okay, and we want 30 windows. Actually, I'm going to put 29. Okay, and the spacing, we're going to space it in the X direction, which is this way. All right, and 56 probably makes it a little bit too close, so we're going to spread it out. We're going to make it 100. So 100 pixels separation between the pieces. And we don't need to go any Y offset, so we're going to change this to 0. And then we're going to apply. And we're going to let this do its job. Okay. Notice how it put the windows to the left of my controlling window, right? So if you come back up to the X offset, just simply put a minus in front and hit apply, and it will go in the other direction. Now, the only thing that I haven't been able to figure out is this was my controlling window right here, okay? And somehow it puts one on the other side. It skips this one, puts it on the other side. If I turn off the windows, oops, I can't do that. If I turn off the windows, our controlling window turns off, all right? But our array goes this way, and then it puts one on this spot. Don't worry about that. That's not that big of a deal. You can always move your stuff, okay? So let's turn on our active window and kind of zoom out. I know this texture isn't that great, but it's just a static aircraft, okay? Then there's a door here and a small gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy windows. I'm going to copy the graphic window that I made. Okay, so we're gonna duplicate this layer, and I'm going to choose the copy, and I'm going to choose that active window because the copy is right on top of the original. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of zoom in where I can get my hands on my window. Okay, and just kind of move this over like this. And then I'm going to make that gap, I think it's between the C and the A. We're going to drop that window right here. Okay. So now I have Windows, which has the clones created. And if you'll notice in the list, it starts adding a bunch of clones. Okay. That's each one of those windows. But it puts them on as a separate layer. But you don't have to recreate that window over and over. Then from this window, we have another row. So I'm going to go to Layer, Split, Clone Array. And same thing, drop this to 1, make row 1, and make our separation between our windows again. And apply, and it applies. Now I only put 2 windows, but notice that it always does one left of your controlling one, so be aware of that. All right, but if you come over here and you increase the count, and we're gonna go 15 windows here, and then it's gonna put one right here. That just drives me crazy. I've been working with Krita for years, and I haven't figured out why it does that. Okay, but just be aware that it will put one on the other side. Okay, now if you're working on a building and not a aircraft like I am, and you have rows and columns, you can simply add number of rows and number of columns here. I think, oh, wait a minute. This cannot go to 0. Yeah, that cannot go to 0. Yeah. All right, so that's how you do a simple array using Krita. And again, you're going to go to the controlling layer that you want to do the array. So this is copy of windows, which is this row of windows here. And again, you go to layer, you go to split, and you go clones layer, and then you have all those settings that you can play with to work out your rows and columns. Okay, and then again it writes all those clones as separate layers in your project. So I hope you find this useful for anything that you're doing. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, and if you feel inclined to support me, buymeacoffee.com/myphysicalworld and join our Discord. There's a link to that in the description of the video as well, if you want to be part of the scenery creation community. And here is an additional call for you guys. we are creating Wright-Patterson Air Force Base as a free download scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you want to join in on that, let us know. We have plenty to do, plenty more buildings. We've put up version 1. We are working on the Museum of the United States Air Force, and we're going to be putting as many aircraft in that building as possible. If you want to make some static aircraft, we have a list of all the airplanes that are in there. You're welcome to help out if you want, and you get full credit. You get your name put on the scenery and links to your profile on flightsim.to if you're a scenery creator on flightsim.to. You are more than welcome to join us. Hey, anyway, you guys have a great rest of the week, and I will see you guys on the next video. See you later.